likelihood is you've seen this car before. It came out in about 2013. And it is a city car. Well, actually, this didn't come out in 2013, but this did. And this is the petrol variant. The Volkswagen Up and the Seat Mii Electric. It was also the Skoda Citigo as well. It was a kind of new direction for the Volkswagen group. 3 cars on exactly the same platform, all with different styling. But they all offered ridiculous economy, funky looks, and different trim levels. The Volkswagen is a move up. The Mii is an electric. Now, starting with the Up, this is a 1 litre 3-cylinder and it uses the MPI engine as well. There's also TSIs, and towards the end you could even get a GTI. Other trims included white, black. It was quite an interesting way of doing things, a bit like the ID3 with family and lifestyle and hang glider. Or back in the day, Volkswagen had things like CL, Rider, Driver, GTI, GTI 16 valve, Rally. Yeah, okay, I'm a bit biased towards the Golf there, but you get it. There was also other additions like Fire and Ice. But the Up offered something different. A sporty little city car that was very at home in the city or on a back lane. And that was the thing about it. It was fun. Perfect first car. Weirdly, it has 4 doors and you can get 4 people in there, but if you've got like a tall driver, say 6'3" in the front, you will have to compromise a bit of space just to get somebody in the back. Weirdly, you do have enough headroom, but you are sat bolt upright, so it is actually possible on a short journey. You just don't expect that by looking at this car. They've been very clever about the proportions, the size. Yeah, with that you have a compromise of boot space, 250 litres. Not the greatest, but that's not what it's built for. This car is not for getting in the drive and then going to Cornwall from here. Saying that, Daniel regularly drives this from London to Silverdale and London even to Newcastle. So in a word, it's possible. And it'll travel at motorway speeds, absolutely no problem. Doing journeys like that, you're going to get about 45 to the gallon, whereas they do claim around 60, but that's obviously on country roads driving it like a normal rate. I don't know what a normal rate is myself, but you should know that by watching this channel. Spirited driving is my jam, baby. So this is the electric. First glance, yeah, it's pretty much identical to the Up. It's only when you start looking a bit closer you realise, actually, that's fully glass. The lenses are slightly different. Even the bumpers shape differently. Yeah, you've got the same boot spoiler, but look, this is actually metal. Well, I think it's metal. Yeah, it's metal. These are triangular, and these have a bit of a bumper's different too. Also, the Mii Electric comes with a lot more things. For example, parking sensors, and you've got a little screen as well that can show you how close you are to vehicles. Chairs, flowers, and anybody that decides that they want to walk behind you. And it'll also beep too. Now ours is what you'd call quite funky, especially when you have a deeper look inside. The interior. It reminds me of the Tarraco. I think it was the technology trim. Now if you look at the infotainment screen, you'll see that actually a lot of it's buttons, and also they've got rid of some of the rotary dials, and you don't get that little computer that you got right at the beginning with all these cars. I do like these though. Sporty tombstones. But I am a fan of these. Tombstones, white piping. Reminds me of Astra GT Mark 1s back in, I suppose that's the 80s, isn't it? Also nice fabric, rather comfortable as well. And this thing is pretty nippy. It claims 0 to 60 in about 12 seconds. But to 30, I smoked an ST from the lights. Yeah, that was, well, he was surprised. Automatic lights. Also, we've got heated seats on our model as well. Now, the one thing you can't get away from is, look, paint. So you've actually got body inside the car. Everything's hard plastic, any kind of like padding here. But, I mean, I suppose the bottom line is it's a city car. I would like a little more refinement, especially for my arm. Headroom's good, legroom's good as well. Even sat at this, I can sit behind myself at 6'3". You don't expect 4 6'3" people sat in a car like this. You just don't. Cluster's nice and easy to read. On the left hand side you've got a kind of rev counter which shows you when you're recouping, in this case says green charge, then you've got blue for say your economy driving, then you've got white up to 10 for redlining. Little screen there as well, you see things like your MPG. Now the faster you go, the more you'll deplete your battery. Stands to reason. Same with climbing up hills and that kind of thing. WLTP figures, you're talking about 160 miles. Take it into the city and that will increase to 220, plus you can recoup a fair bit as well. If we climb in it a second, let's just have a bit of a talk about the gear shifter. So it looks like a normal automatic box. You've got a 2-pedal system and you've got your driving modes here. Park, reverse, neutral, and then you've got drive there. If you knock it back, then it'll put it in B, which I assume means brake, and that puts it into regen mode. It's very well constructed. I mean, you do that and you rock the car. But again, everything is hard plastics. I mean, you're hard pushed to find anything. Oh, bit of rubber there on the handbrake. Lovely glossy trim as well. But a city car is a city car. It's supposed to be light for a start because it's electric. It just pumps the price up if you start using premium materials left, right and centre. All this is hard, but I really do like this. It really brightens it up. You combine that with the seats and it's awesome, it really is. I'm also a fan of a dark headliner as well. You've got smoked side windows, but it doesn't seem to make that much of a difference because you've got a big back window, so it lets a lot of light in as well. Airbags, decent door pocket. The shallowest door pocket ever? Yeah, I'm going to go as far as to say that. More hard plastics in the back, but one of my favourites, pop-out windows. Yeah, it's not the biggest back seat, and it is pretty upright, but if it was any more slanted back, you wouldn't get 250 litres of space in the boot. You get 120 maybe. That is a fair old transmission tunnel. Cup holder, but you've got lots of room for your feet under the seats. And I can sit in the back as well, bonus. And just to prove that, I'll do it. Yeah, okay. I might have to move my seat forward a bit, but I can actually do it. And my hair does brush, but I'm always lavish in a car, as you know by now. So if I slide this forward, then I'm going to have enough legroom and headroom. Isofix points. Now the benefit of the Seat Mii Electric is it charges on Type 2 and rapid charge. It's 40 kilowatts for rapid charge, and that'll take you about an hour for 80%. And then if you go for Type 2, 7.5 kilowatts, say wall box, about 4 hours for 80%. Home charge, considerably more. I've also noticed drum brakes on the back, but it's a small car, and it does brake very well. Now when you watch the full review, we'll cover some things that I haven't covered in here. Namely, how little sound it makes, which could be a little bit challenging, as I found out. Boom. And that releases it, but doesn't actually, so you have to press the button fully to then lift it. I've already let this down so you can see in from here. I think that looks rather funky. 250 litres of space, and if I lift this, that's quite a massive storage space. But if it wasn't there, that boot lip would be, whoa, that's like cliff-like. Clever storage as well for your Type 2 and your home charger. So there you go, the Seat Mii Electric. Let's move to the Volkswagen Up. So Daniel bought this for, I think he said something like £4,100 at about 40,000 miles on the clock, and he bought it 2 years ago. Now he's done, very weirdly, a very small amount of mileage, but when he's done the mileage, he's done very long journeys. So because of COVID and so on, he's done 5,000 miles in 2 years, which as we know is pretty much nothing. However, one of those journeys was London all the way to Newcastle. And it doesn't skip a beat, and it still returns 45 to the gallon on the motorway at decent motorway speeds. With the odd blip, because let's face it, he's my brother. So yeah, platform exactly the same. Absolutely no difference whatsoever. Now climbing into the Up is a bit different. Similar cluster, but obviously a rev counter and speedo and petrol gauge. As you saw on the right hand side, it's a very similar system, it's just bigger. And it also has this styling as well. Steering wheels, you can adjust height. That's it, there is no reach. Now if we look at the centre, you will see, yeah, you've got knobs on this. Some shortcut buttons there that are blanked out. Air conditioning as well. And this was a unit I was talking about. And what I'll do is I'll turn it on in a minute and I'll show you what displays on there. In the Seat, they've put like a new mount on so you can put smartphone in and do similar with the app. CD as well, no CD in that one. Radio here, but the likelihood is it isn't digital, but you have an auxiliary port here, which is perfect for Daniel and his junglist tunes. Well, the styling's definitely different in here. For a start, you've got a light headliner, and also I think this bellows out more as well. Black gloss too. Same vents though, and same styling here, except no automatic lights. Same sturdy build quality, and a 5-speed manual. It's good to see that both have old school handbrakes as well. Now I'll get the key out, turn it on, see what it does. Now I've taken the key out of the ignition, and you'll see this is still on. The device will switch off in 30 seconds. Very cool. More functions. Voice command as well. And this is connected directly to the car, so you get to see your average consumption, your driving range, speed, and all types of things. Now soon after the cars were released, we understand that they stopped doing this. But I quite like it. It just gives you all the information you need. It's also rather smart, and it's neatly put too. Exactly the same key as well. Well, that's interesting. No strings here. Didn't expect that. Decent storage area with Daniel's Nikes stored underneath. Very good, 250 litres, as you'd expect. No parking sensors on this model either, or heated seats. But it was all dependent on which trim you chose. Specs were quite interesting, everything from heated seats through to air conditioning. Also, that little computer that made things a lot easier. Now we've already seen the Citigo disappear. It just makes you wonder how long the rest of these will last. I'm going to miss them though. Perfect little city cars, whether you want petrol or electric. My thought is they'll probably phase out the petrols and head more for electric. Electric up, electric me? Yeah, I'd go for that.